apps right now, and you are sending some kind of information to your loved ones or to your friends or anyone else that you know, and then you're sharing interesting information about what you're doing now and what have you been doing lately, or any future plans, maybe about changing the place you work. And then imagine that someone grabs that information from you and they use that in a way which you are not aware to in any way. So I assume that would be upsetting. But then we all do that, right? Actually, some of us are doing this as we talk right now, right? So we actually keep on doing that. We share our information, we give it for free, and we have nothing, we don't know actually nothing where this information is going to. So who actually owns this information today, right? Is it us? Probably not, because we don't own it, we don't have it in our pockets right now, we don't control the way it is distributed, and we're not getting anything in return for sharing this information. There are very few companies in the world which keep on harvesting our information everywhere we go, right? They're taking up our links, our search results, the posts that we're sharing. This company are collecting huge amounts of data, which is very valuable for their businesses. I'm sure you heard everything about Facebook and Google by now, but you've also heard about the latest data breaches, right? So those events where our data was actually used or misused. These companies, for example, in some places, they are responsible for 70% of the market growth. That is the advertising industry, right? So imagine a billions of dollars market where two companies, or a little bit more than that, are controlling almost entirely. In some verticals, for example, they account for 95% of the growth. Okay, so it means more and more advertisers and marketers and agencies are depending their businesses on just a small amount of companies. I would like to share with you just a short video to give you a general understanding of what are we doing.
All the free content we love to check out online, well, it isn't really free. We pay in data. Global giants like Google and Facebook track our online behavior and then sell our personal information to advertisers. But what if we could get a piece of the pie? What if we could earn a reward for every time an advertiser used this data? After all, it's ours. The GDPR bill states that the user is the rightful owner of his or her personal information and can get a copy of the collected data free of charge. This is where Liberdy comes in. We've developed a data platform using blockchain technology that rewards users for the use advertisers already make of their information. Our app securely and transparently collects, segments, manages, protects, and verifies the data. The currency of the network is the lib token, which advertisers use to buy audiences. You earn tokens for the sale of your data and can use tokens to buy products. It's time to reclaim your data. Get paid when advertisers use your information. Join now.
So, this is what we're doing, actually. We're building the first consent-based data management platform. We're using the power of the blockchain to create an ecosystem where people can anonymously share their data and get rewards whenever their data is being used over and over again, right? So the lack of trust, the lack of transparency was one of the biggest issue in the advertising world. So now when we have blockchain in hand, we can provide some remedy for some of the largest problem coming from the advertising world, actually. And the thing about using blockchain within the advertising industry is insightful, because all of the participating parties, all of the stakeholders, have some sort of benefit, right? Let's look at the advertisers, the one that are spending so many dollars to reach out to us. They allow us to get free information from the internet, right? And some of them were pulling a lot of their budgets outside of the ecosystem because no one could get verified information. We provide verified information for advertisers. If you would look at the prices of data today, so an advertiser would pay up to $10 for 1,000 impressions, ad impressions with Facebook. For the same amount of impressions outside Facebook, in the largest independent mobile platform in the world, they would pay $1, right? And the gap is just because the differences in data. So what we do, given the GDPR regulation, is we take the data, your data, from Google and Facebook, and then we resell it anonymously within the ecosystem outside the boundaries of Google and Facebook. So this kind of data can now be bought and accessed outside of those companies. And then, of course, we reward the users whenever we use their data. Liberdy is building a non-profit company, so we would share 85% of the revenues from this platform back with the users sharing their data. The way we do that, right, is by respecting the privacy. So while we get your consent for using your data, and just before we use it within the blockchain ecosystem that we've built, we anonymize it, which means that we actually throw away whatever is considered to be identifiable information. Because honestly, we don't need that, right? We provide that today because we are asked for, so we don't need your names, we don't need your phone numbers or emails and so on. We can do everything that the advertising ecosystem needs without those personal details of yours. So this is a very important thing to understand. And then security. How do we actually prevent the next Cambridge Analytics? And just in case you haven't yet heard, I'm sure 99% of you already heard about Cambridge Analytics. So these guys had about 18 million Facebook users caught within their network, right? Getting all their information into their servers and doing various things with it, right? Those companies, just because they have so much strength in the data ecosystem, they allow themselves to take risks with your data. So your data is being sold to many different companies without you even knowing. So security is something that we would have to make sure that it actually works for us differently. So how do we actually secure it? Well, we don't save any of your personal information, which means that we start by being much more secured. You cannot be reached individually, right? Unlike any other platform that stores the information. And then we encrypt the information and we store it on the blockchain. As I said before, we are building the first consent-based data management platform. Data management platform is actually the box that holds your cookies. So whenever you go and websites and app developers storing your information in those small tiny files, the cookies, right? So those cookies are being then sold in data management platform. We're building the first decentralized consent-based data management platform. in the world. And we do that by asking you, where do you wanna, what kind of messages would you like to get?